Hi everyone, and welcome to English4U. I'm Pat.
And I'm Adam.
Today we're going to learn about some special Japanese people who are masters of whatever art or craft they have dedicated their lives to. What's an art or a craft that you've spent a lot of time trying to be a master of?
Well, ever since moving to Taiwan, I've tried my hand at surfing.
Oh, okay.
And I wouldn't say I'm a craftsman or a master craftsman, but I've given it a good effort. So that's what I've been trying to develop. What about yourself?
I was going to ask, you can stand up, you can ride the waves and all of that?
Yeah, I can do that fairly well, but getting the big waves or trying to do that or certain moves, not so much my forte.
Okay, plenty more to practice and learn. I have been trying to learn how to be a good storyteller for many, many years in writing. Spent a lot of time practicing. I've done some workshops, a bit of learning in classes, watched videos, just trying to become a better writer.
Wow,
yeah,
that's amazing.
Something I've been trying on. But what we're not at the level of is the people we're going to talk about in today's article. Let's learn about them and read through day one.
Reading.
Japan's shokunin are masters of their art. Japan is a country that loves details. When Japanese people make rice bowls, pottery, or bamboo baskets, they take time to get these details right. The traditional artists who demonstrate this best are called shokunin. Shokunin have a long history in Japan. They spend their whole lives perfecting their art and teaching it to younger people. They become highly valued in their communities by creating useful things that are perfect in every way. Some believe that the idea of shokunin is becoming out of date. There aren't many young people to replace older shokunin, especially in the countryside. Also, machines can recreate some of their high-quality production processes. Shokunin do continue to influence Japan's modern culture, however. For example, Matado, a traditional Japanese doll company, made an amazingly detailed plush Pikachu. It was made completely by hand, using traditional kimono material. It's no wonder that people from around the world visit Japan to see the work of these skilled people in person.
So our introduction says, Japan is a country that loves details. And you do find that certain countries do pay a little more attention to accuracy, details, getting things right than others. Germany, I would think of as another country that gets very precise about these kind of things, and Japan is another.
The article continues to say, when Japanese people make rice bowls, pottery, or bamboo baskets, they take time to get these details right. Here we see the word pottery. Pottery is a noun. It's clay that's been shaped by heat to make pots, pans, cups, and bowls. For an example sentence, I can go ahead and say, my friends and I are taking a pottery class to learn how to make cups. Or we can say, they found pottery pieces from an ancient gravesite.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's like going up to Inga, isn't it?
That's right.
That's where you would go for pottery in the north of Taiwan. So we've mentioned pottery. Another one of the things we looked at there was, or mentioned there, was a bamboo basket. What is bamboo? Let's find out. So bamboo is, of course, a plant, and it's actually a type of grass. It's a very long, thick type of grass. It grows in very tall, hollow tubes that, there's loads of them all coming out of the same plant. Now, bamboo can be eaten, but it can also be used for building. It can be made into furniture. We've got baskets like we talked about. It's a construction material in some parts of the world. I've been to Hong Kong and seen that construction workers are standing on these big bamboo poles to do work on buildings. And here's another example. I have a light bamboo chair that I sit on in the garden. So from that example, we can see that people in Japan make all sorts of things, pottery and bamboo stuff, but no matter what they do, they take a lot of time and spend a lot of effort getting something right.
That's correct, Pat. Here we see get something right. What it means is to do something, say something, or understand something correctly. In the article, the Japanese take time to get these details right. So they were careful in making these objects so they wouldn't make mistakes.
Right, it's not that kind of idea of, close enough, it'll do.
Right.
That's not the attitude that they take here. It's like, no, we'll get it right even if we have to take hours and start again and so on. Now we see in the article the traditional artists who demonstrate this best, as in this idea, this care, this detail, that demonstrate this best are called shokunin. That's the Japanese word. I may not have pronounced it exactly right there. I hope I got it fairly close. But that is the Japanese name for these kind of artists, these people who make things. And they demonstrate this idea of getting the details right. To demonstrate means to show something, particularly to show how something works, or to show something that provides an example to explain a thing. We are demonstrating how to use English words by giving you examples, showing the meanings. I could have demonstrated bamboo by showing you some bamboo, or Adam could have shown some pottery. That is a demonstration. That's the noun form of what we're talking about.
Continuing with our article, we see shokunin have a long history in Japan. So they have been working in Japan for a very long time.
Yeah, I imagine it's these kind of old craftsmen and people who've maybe worked in the same business for many years and their master taught them and his master taught them and so on for centuries. And we see in the article, they spend their whole lives perfecting their art and teaching it to younger people. We see the word perfect being used as a verb there. When you use it as a verb, it's perfect. You put the stress on the second syllable. I want to perfect something. In other words, make it perfect.
Continuing, we see in the article, they become highly valued in their communities by creating useful things that are perfect in every way. Here we see the word community, which is a noun. It is used to mean a group of people that live in the same area, same place, or all the people have something in common. So I could say, I'm in a car community.
You all like cars. You go on drives together. I'm part of the theatre community, people who get involved in theatre. So these Japanese masters are great for their community. They create things for people to use, okay? They're actually really making things that people would go, great, I've got a new bowl or a basket or something. To create means to make something new. It could be like a new idea, you could create that, or it could just be, oh, here's a new chair. I kind of created this, I built it, I made it from scratch. It is new, I made it today.
That's so interesting. Our article continues by saying some believe that the idea of shokunin is becoming out of date. Out of date usually means it is no longer popular.
Yeah, I guess it's the idea that maybe is there room in this modern world where everything's kind of fast and we need lots more of everything? Can we still afford to take like 5 months to make just a single bowl?
Right, I don't know.
It's not so efficient, and there are other issues to think of as well. The article says there aren't many young people to replace older shokunin, especially in the countryside. So, of course, young people, they want to get jobs in cities, make more money, kind of leave the rural kind of countryside area. So the old masters who stay there, well, who are they going to teach? Who are they going to pass the skills on to? So that kind of thing has been going on all over the world for a long time. And it's that conflict. Is it okay to keep doing this, or is it one of those traditions that is just going to fade away? because they can't find people to replace the older ones. Here, replace means to take the place of. Now, it could mean when something old is taken away and a new one is put in its place, like replacing the batteries in a remote control, but it could also mean to do someone's job after they leave it. When people leave work, you go, okay, we need to replace them. For example, Fred is leaving the country next week, so we'll have to hire someone to replace him. And this is taking place mostly, this problem, in the countryside.
And in that sentence, we saw the word countryside. Countryside is a noun. It is a place or land that is outside of cities and towns. So an example sentence would be, I would love to go on vacation and visit the English countryside. I could see beautiful landscapes, maybe cottages. I could get away where there's not many people around. So learning about this, we can't replace all the older generations. So we're learning to maybe try something new, or now with more technologies, we're learning how to do newer things quicker, like you said.
Exactly. So shokunin, they can't find new people to teach, but that's not the only problem facing this tradition. The article says also, machines can recreate some of their high-quality production processes. So, of course, you might think, well, why would we want this kind of factory-made thing when we could get this beautiful handcrafted product? Well, the thing is, machines are so good now that they can make beautiful things that look like high-quality handcrafted products. They can recreate them. To recreate is to make something again in exactly the same way. Maybe you've just done a performance, you go, okay, I need to recreate that energy, get that same energy in it. I made a really good thing, a dish the other day, I cooked it. Now I need to recreate that dish and do it in exactly the same way to make it taste good. And doing something can often be a process.
That's right. We see the word process, and in this case, it's a noun. In that sentence, we also hear that word process. It's a step-by-step detail about how something works or how something is done. So we could use, for an example, the process of baking a cake is quite easy as long as you have the right ingredients, such as flour, eggs, butter, sugar.
Yeah, stick some chocolate in there.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, so the article continues. Shokunin do continue to influence Japan's modern culture, however. So that's good. They're not just this kind of fading thing from the past that will disappear soon. Maybe their beliefs, maybe their kind of ideas and attention to detail are still playing a part in the way that Japan's modern companies do things.
Continuing with our article, it says, for example, Motaro, a traditional Japanese doll company, made an amazingly detailed plush Pikachu. Here we will focus our language in focus. In today's language in focus, we are taking a look at non-restrictive appositives. An appositive is a bonus information. It can be a noun or a noun phrase. So for example, in today's article, we see Motaro, a traditional Japanese doll company. A traditional Japanese doll company is an appositive noun phrase, which is used to tell us a bit more about Motaro. Remember, you need to put a comma before an appositive and another after it. So here's another example. Taipei 101, comma, the tallest building in Taipei, comma, is located in Xinyi District. Or Biden, comma, the President of the United States is almost 80 years old.
Yeah. So they've made this plush Pikachu toy, this company in Japan, and they say it is amazingly detailed. The word amazingly, as you can tell from the ly ending, is an adverb, meaning that its quality, this particular quality, amazes people. It was amazingly wet today. It rained a lot. It's amazingly hot. I'm amazed by how hot it is. In this sentence, we've got amazingly detailed. That means there is an amazing amount of detail in it. Here's an example sentence. This fresh bread smells amazingly good. Can I have a piece? But what kind of thing are we talking about here? Some kind of Pikachu.
That's right. We hear the word plush, which is an adjective. It's used to describe something that is made from or covered with a soft or thick cloth similar to velvet. You can also use this word to describe something that is very fancy or expensive looking. So you could say, oh, my friend who lives in New York City just bought this plush couch. It's very soft.
And fancy. So let's learn more about this detailed, amazingly detailed plush Pikachu. The article says, it was made completely by hand using traditional kimono material. If something is done or made by hand, that means people are doing it themselves. They're using their hands and fingers. No part of it involves a machine, or at least not a very complicated machine. It could be something really simple, but mostly we mean you're doing it, you're sewing it, you're making it yourself with your hands.
Jumping back into the article, we see the word kimono. Kimono is a noun, and it's a traditional dress worn by men and women. It is very long and has wide sleeves. Usually, sometimes they can be very decorative, like flowers are on them or bright colors as well.
Yeah, that's right. So the article continues and goes back to talking about these shokunin, these craft masters, and says it's no wonder that people from around the world visit Japan to see the work of these skilled people in person. So we use the phrase, it's no wonder that. This little clause is introducing the idea that something is very obvious. It's not a surprise. It's nothing to make you go, what? Why do they do that? No, you don't need to wonder about why they do it. It's clear. It's no wonder that this happens.
Also in that sentence, they say they want to see it in person. In person is a phrase where it's when you want to see or view something for yourself. You want to go there and you want to see it, not just see it on the TV or YouTube.
Yeah, you'd want to go and visit there, go into these ancient workshops, see what the people do as they create these little things. It's definitely something you could do as a tourist. And there are a few places like that in most places. I'm sure in Taiwan you could go and see certain traditional crafts being done by hand. You can see it in person, you can get involved. There's the S-Light Spectrum up by Songshan where you can.
That's right.
They've got the glass blowing workshop.
Yeah.
You could go and do that in person or see it in person. Of course, that's not quite, decades of craftsmanship, but, there will be those kind of things in different places around the world. So that is the idea we're talking about here, these shokunin, these Japanese masters, some of the problems that are sort of facing them in the modern world, but also how they are still an important part of Japanese culture. Now, tomorrow, we're going to learn about one specific shokunin and the stuff that he does. But right now, we're going to go to today's For You Chat question.
For You Chat.
So our question is, what do you know about Japan? Would you like to visit or have you been there before? Talk about it.
Well, Pat, have you been to Japan?
I have been twice. I went once all the way back in 2007.
Okay.
It's a long time ago.
A little bit ago, yeah.
And then once, 2018 was the last time I went. The first time was a business trip. I went on to Tokyo and a smaller city called Toyama on business. And the last time was Disney.
Disney, of course.
How about you? Have you been?
Yes, I've been there twice, the same as you.
Cool. What did you do?
I went to a city called Kyoto.
Right.
I saw a traditional, kind of like the article we're talking about.
A
lot of kimonos, a samurai park and a ninja park where you could go see. And then we also went up to Osaka and experienced their nightlife and food, and it was just, it was really pleasant.
Yeah, it sounds all very nice. I got out to go to see what you guys would call Fuji-san. Go and see Mount Fuji. It was a bit cloudy. We didn't get an amazing view of it. We saw the place where you can do the Super Mario Kart racing on the streets of Tokyo.
That, yes.
Didn't get to do it, but saw some cool virtual reality games. What else do I know about Japan? I had a friend who was half Japanese in school with me growing up. And so he kind of influenced me. And in fact, he helped me as a tour guide when I visited there the first time. He was teaching English there. And I've also done a little bit of Aikido, which is a Japanese martial art. A lot of throwing people around, or in my case, getting thrown around. I was the one usually landing on the floor rather than doing all the cool throwing stuff. But so that's us. What about you guys? What do you know about Japan? Have you been? What would you like to go and do there if you haven't? Talk about that, and we'll see you again tomorrow for part 2 of our article. Bye for now.
Vocabulary Review.
Pottery. In Sandra's art class, she learned to make pottery, such as cups and bowls out of clay. Bamboo. Pandas live on bamboo. It's their main food. Replace. George replaced Susan after she left the company. He's still learning, but he's doing a good job. Countryside. Henry grew up in the countryside and worked on his uncle's farm. He's not used to the city. Process. The process of making a computer isn't simple and requires many steps to complete. Amazingly. This dog looks mean, but if you play with him, he's amazingly friendly.
智慧小补帖
Demonstrate. Community. Plush. Kimono.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net